Yeah. So good afternoon and welcome back to this second online class. Okay. So this class is conducted for MBA semester 2 students in the subject of corporate finance. So this is an additional problem in capital budgeting unit 2. Okay. So I welcome you all. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Onjeri, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. In the previous class, in detail, we learned about the data given in the problem. So I'll quickly review what is given in the problem and I'll go ahead with the solution. So the investment outlay of the project would be 100 million rupees, of which 80 million rupees would be incurred for plant and machinery and 20 million rupee would be required for additional working capital. Okay, then the entire outlay will be incurred at the beginning of the project. The project will be financed. So this 100 million rupee, okay, company will raise through this way. The project will be financed or the company will be raising 45 million rupees in the form of equity capital, that is by way of issuing equity shares. 5 million rupees by way of preference capital, that is by way of issuing preference shares, and 50 million rupees of debt capital. It means the company will raise 50 million rupees from banks and financial institutions in the form of loans. So the rate of preference dividend is 15% and the rate of interest on loans and advances is 15%. Okay. The life of the project will be 5 years and at the end of 5 years fixed assets will fetch a net salvage value of 30 million rupees. Okay, so in this case salvage value is provided, which is 30 million rupees. Then whereas the net working capital will be liquefied at its book value. It means 20 million rupee required for which was initially invested as a requirement of additional working capital will be recovered in the 5th year. So you need to remember this data. The incremental revenue the project is going to generate is 120 million rupees. Means each year the company will generate a revenue of 120 million rupees on account of this new project. And the increase in costs on account of the project is expected to be 80 million rupees per year. So each year the company would incur a cost of 80 million rupees on account of the new project. So this 80 million rupees each year includes all items of cost other than depreciation, interest and tax. Hence, you need to consider or provide treatment for depreciation, interest and tax in estimating the cash flows after taxes. That is your task. The effective tax rate would be 30%. Okay. Then the amount of depreciation each year is readily provided in the problem. So I repeat, the amount of depreciation for each year is readily provided in the problem. You simply need to copy it. That's it. Okay. Again, the amount is in million rupees. So what is asked from the above information, estimate the project cash flows. So I repeat, it is nothing but the cash flows after taxes, which we have calculated in 2 previous problems. So there is no decision asked whether to accept or reject the project. All you need to do is just estimate the project cash flows. That's it. So you would require a table like this. Determination of CFAT. So all figures will be in millions of rupees. So I repeat, all these figures 120, 80, 40, all figures, okay, would be in millions of rupees. Okay. Then this column we have particulars and here we have 5 columns of years 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we'll go prepare the table vertically now. So the first item in the particulars is incremental revenue. So I'll take you to the problem every time so that it becomes easy for you. So easily you can score 20 marks if you just pay attention. So incremental revenue. Okay. So it is very clearly given. The project is expected to increase the revenues of the firm by 120 million rupees per year. So each year it is 120 million rupees. So as you can see, so there is nothing difficult here. It's all easy. From which we need to deduct incremental cost, which is 80 million rupees each year. It is also given in the problem. The increase in costs on account of the project is expected to be 80 million rupees per year, your operating costs. So each year it is 80 million rupees. So the difference what we get is EBDIT, earnings before depreciation, interest and tax. Please pay attention. Earnings before depreciation, interest and tax. Why we get this? Earnings before depreciation, interest and tax. This 80 million rupee each year. Okay. So this 80 million rupee each year. This includes all items of cost other than, so that 80 million rupee does not include depreciation, interest and tax. That's why we say earnings before depreciation, interest and tax. Each year it is same 40 million rupees. It is the difference of 180 million rupee minus 80 million rupees. 40 million rupee is the earnings before depreciation, interest and tax. Now simple, just need to deduct depreciation, you need to deduct interest and you need to deduct tax. That's it. So from earnings before depreciation, interest and taxes, we need to deduct depreciation. So here also you need not struggle, as the amount of depreciation is readily given in the problem. Okay, so year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 and year 5. This is ready-made data given for you. It will save a lot of your time. So less depreciation. Year 1, 20 million rupees. Year 2, 15 million rupees. Depreciation in third year is 11.25 million rupees. Depreciation in fourth year is 8.44 million rupees. Depreciation in year 5 is 6.33 million rupees. So what difference now we get is earnings before interest and taxes. That's it. Earnings before interest and taxes, because we have deducted depreciation already. The difference amount is, so 40 minus 20 is 20 million rupees. 40 minus 15, 25 million rupees. 40 minus 11.25 is 28.75 million rupees. 40 minus 8.44 is 31.56 million rupees. 40 minus 6.33 is 33.67 million rupees. So these amounts are earnings before interest and taxes. So next problem. Okay. So you need to deduct interest on debt. You need to deduct interest on debt. So it is already given in the problem that 50 million rupees. Okay, 50 million rupees will be raised in the form of debt capital, and debt capital will carry an interest rate of 15%. So 15% of 50 million rupees. So 15% of 15 million rupees, 50 million rupees is the interest. So 15% interest of 50 million rupees is 7.5 million rupees each year the company has to pay as interest on debt. I repeat, 15% of 50 million rupee debt capital. The amount is 7.5 million rupees. Each year the company has to pay 7.5 million rupees as interest on debt. So each year it is same. The difference amount what we get is earnings before taxes, or this is the taxable income. So please remember, in all the problems I explained you, depreciation has a tax benefit. Depreciation amount is not taxed. Hence, before the taxable income is arrived, depreciation is deducted. Similarly, interest on debt, okay, or interest on loan. or interest on debentures is also has a tax benefit. Okay, also has a tax benefit. So whatever amount is paid as interest on debentures, or whatever amount is paid on interest on debt, is also deducted from the taxable income. To that extent, the company will get tax benefits. But only thing you remember the difference, since depreciation is a non-cash cost and it is added to the sinking fund to purchase a new machine at the end of the life of the machine, depreciation amount is always added back, okay, in calculating CFAT. But interest on debt will not be added back. It is a cash cost. All 7.5 million rupee will be paid to the financial institution or the bank from which the company has raised loans or debt capital. So 15% of 50 million rupee is 7.5 million rupee interest on debt each year. So difference amount what we get is earnings before taxes. This is the taxable income. So taxable income 20 minus 7.5 is 12.5 million rupee taxable income in year 1. 25 minus 7.5, 17.5 million rupee the earnings before taxes. In year 2, 28.75 minus 7.5 is 21.25 million rupee is the earnings before taxes or taxable income in year 3. Then 31.56 minus 7.5 is 24.06 million rupees is the earnings before taxes or taxable income in year 4. And 33.67 minus 7.5 is 26.17 million rupees earnings before taxes, okay, in the 5th year. So next step is simple, less or deduct 30% tax. It is given in the problem. Okay, so I have to remember the effective tax rate would be 30%. Okay, so less taxes. Okay, so less tax at the 30%. So this is a taxable income. So 30% of 12.5 million rupees is 3.75. I can calculate. Okay, 30 divided by 100 into 12.5. The tax will be 3.75 rupee. The company will be paying as a tax in first year. 30% of 17.5 is 5.25 million rupees. 30% of 21.25 is 6.375 million rupees. Okay. 30% of 24.06 is 7.218 million rupees. Okay. Is the amount of tax. 30% of 26.17 is 7.851 million rupees is the amount of tax in 5th year. Okay. So once we deduct tax, what we get is earnings after taxes. So earnings after taxes. So 12.5 minus 3.75 is 8.75 million rupees the earnings after taxes. 17.5 minus 5.25, the difference is 12.25 million rupee is the earnings after taxes in year 2. 21.25 minus 6.375, the 14.875 million rupees is the earnings after taxes in year 3. 24.06 minus 7.218 is the difference is 16.842 million rupees is the earning after taxes in year 4. 26.17 minus 7.851, the difference is 18.319 million rupees is the earnings after taxes in year 5. Now only one twist in this problem, is preference dividend. So commerce students will remember that preference shareholders have the priority in payment of dividend or equity shareholders. Equity shareholders are the last shareholders in the company to get a dividend. Okay, so please remember to deduct preference dividend at the rate of 15%. And for non-commerce students, please listen, for non-commerce students, preference dividend is a cash cost. So if we can recall from the problem, out of the 100 million rupee initial investment, okay, 5 million rupees is raised as preference capital, means the company will issue preference capital. Sorry, the company will issue preference shares worth 5 million rupees. And on this preference shares, this preference capital or preference shares will carry a dividend rate of 15%. The difference between preference shares and equity shares is equity shareholders are true owners of the company. They have the right to vote in the election of board of directors, whereas preference shareholders do not have the right to vote for board of directors during election. Okay, so I hope you remember. And second thing is, while receiving the dividend, preference shareholders have the priority over equity shareholders. Out of the earnings after taxes, dividend is paid first to the preference shareholders, and from the remaining balance, equity dividend is paid. Hence, this is a new point you need to remember. If you skip this step, again your whole answer will be wrong. So you can also ask if you have any question at the end of the problem. So I repeat again, 5 million rupee is of preference capital, and the preference capital will carry a dividend of 15%. It means 15% of 5 million rupee has to be paid as preference dividend. That has to be deducted since it is a cash cost. So from the earnings after taxes, the first priority is for preference shareholders. Hence, pay or deduct 15% preference dividend. Okay. So please remember one more point. It is not 15% of earnings after taxes. I repeat, preference dividend is not calculated as 15% of earnings after taxes. I hope you are listening. Once again, I repeat, preference dividend is not calculated as 15% of earnings after taxes. Preference dividend has to be calculated as 15% of 5 million rupee preference capital. I repeat, preference dividend has to be calculated as 5 million preference capital. So what is the 15%? 15% of 5 million rupees. That is the preference dividend. It will be same for each year. So we say less preference dividend. 15% of 5 million rupees is 0.75 million rupees. 15% of 5 million rupees is 0.75 rupees. So this preference dividend amount will be same each year, as the capital is going to remain same. So once we deduct 8.75 minus 0.75, 8 million rupees. 12.25 minus 0.75 is 11.5 million rupees. 14.875 minus 0.75 is 14.125 million rupees. 16.842 minus 0.75 is 16.092 million rupees, and 18.319 minus 0.75 is 17.569 million rupees earnings available to equity holders. You can consider like that. Now to these are the cash inflows. Okay, after treating depreciation, interest on debt, tax, and payment of preference dividend. Okay, so this is all the amount available to equity shareholders, but still there are two more items of cash inflows. Please remember depreciation. We need to add back the depreciation since it is a cash cost, non-cash cost, sorry. So it is same, we already have the amount of depreciation. Same amount we are going to add back here. We have done it in all the previous problems. Please remember, recall. So add depreciation. So it is added here. Then add salvage value. See, the plant and machinery will be sold only in the terminal year, that is at the end of 5th year. So years 1, 2, 3, 4, you will not have any salvage value. So in the 5th year, okay. So there is a salvage value of 30 million rupees. So I'll recall from the problem. Okay. The net salvage value of 30 million rupees. Okay, the fixed assets will fetch a net salvage value of 30 million rupees. Okay. So add salvage value. So in the fifth year, 30 million rupees, and add recovery of working capital. Additional working capital required was 20 million rupees, which is also mentioned in the beginning of the problem. So you can add these columns now once for all. So from here you need to add all the columns. Okay, these all we need to add. So here only 8 plus 20, 28 million rupees is the cash inflow after taxes in year 1. 11.15 plus 15, 26.5 million rupee cash inflows after taxes in year 2. 14.125 plus 11.25 is 25.375 million rupees in year 3 cash inflows after taxes. 16.092 plus 8.44, 24.532 million rupees cash inflows after taxes at the end of year 4. Then 17.569 plus 6.33 depreciation amount plus 30 million rupees salvage value plus 20 million rupees recovery of working capital. So the total is 73.899 million rupees cash inflows after taxes at the end of year 5. So this is what was asked in the problem. If you can recall, from the above information, estimate the project cash flows. That is nothing but CFAT. So we have arrived at the solution. So cash flows after taxes or cash inflows after taxes at the end of year 1 is 28 million rupees. At the end of year 2, 26.5 million rupees. At the end of year 3, 25.375 million rupees. At the end of fourth year is 24.532 million rupees, and at the end of fifth year 73.899 million rupees. Okay. So just I'll check this figure 1 minute. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to unmute all. First, I'm going to receive the questions, and after clarifying your doubts, I will have small feedback. Okay. So remember, this is the end of unit 2. Okay, the longest module or largest module or unit in syllabus. Unit 2, capital budgeting. So you can speak if you have any questions now. You can speak.
Sir, depreciation I didn't understand.
Yes. What is the question?
On which amount we have taken depreciation?
Okay. See, amount of depreciation is readily given in the problem. You need not calculate it.
Yes, sir.
See here. Plant and machinery will be depreciated at the rate of 25% per year as per the written down value method. But I also mentioned twice, you need not calculate as, hence the depreciation charges will be as below. So the depreciation amount is readily given in the problem for each year in millions rupees. Okay. So the same amount of depreciation is taken here. Less depreciation. Okay. So after charging tax, and after paying preference dividend, one new step here, we need to add back the depreciation. Okay, clear?
Okay, 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 sir. Thank you. Yes.
Good. Welcome. Next question.
So like this is not about this this problem. Like Sir, what was the last problem you taught? Was that similar to the problem which you taught day before yesterday?
You are talking about this present problem, Navin Enterprises, or previous to this?
So previous third or like 3 o'clock's problem because of some network issues.
3 o'clock problem
So,
was exactly similar
yes.
to the day before yesterday's problem.
Okay, sir. Then no problem. I'll look at that.
This is something new. New means actually, if you look at the problem, it is more
Yes.
convenient for students, easy for students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's easy, sir.
Here you need not calculate net present value, and you need not, okay, calculate the amount of depreciation also. But there are some
Yes,
small
sir.
things which you need to know and remember. That's it. So it is there in
Yes.
VTU exam only, VTU exam question paper, and this
Okay.
question is repeated twice or thrice. Okay, in VTU
Okay,
question
sir.
paper itself.
Okay, sir.
Anyway, so next question.
Sir, what
Next
about
question.
on interest on debenture? Sir.
Yes, Nandan.
Sir, what about on interest on debenture?
Yeah, interest on debenture means they are given. See here in the problem, what they say is 50 million rupee debt capital. Okay, so try to understand. This debt capital can be either in the form of debenture or loans taken from banks or loans taken from financial institutions. So they are not provided information or details on that. Simply they have called it 50 million rupee in the form of debt capital. And they are given the interest on debt as a 15%. That's it. So whether it is a loan from bank or financial institution or interest on debentures, okay, so it will be fixed, and it is a mandatory for the company to pay interest on debt, whatever form of the debt it may be. So 15% of 50 million, which is 7.5 million rupees. Okay. Nandan, can you hear me? Okay, Nandan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Okay, thank
Now
you, sir.
your doubt is clarified?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you a commerce student or non-commerce? Nandan? Okay, anyway, he said his doubt is clarified. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, now, okay, so just I'd like to conclude with unit 2. So if you remember, okay, before the lockdown, okay, the classes were conducted in the classroom, okay, and I had started unit 2 already. So in the classroom, if you remember, I took the theory part on data, how to calculate, how to find out the items required in the cash inflows, okay, or the items involved in the cash flows, and how to treat them, like how to treat depreciation, how to treat tax, how to treat interest on debt, okay, and what are the different types of items in the cash flows. And thereafter, okay, we went ahead and learned the types of capital projects. So that was single proposal, okay, numerical problem I solved in class, if you remember, okay, that is the first case study also. And thereafter we went into lockdown and I started online classes, and after some theory classes I started unit 2 from second type of capital project, replacement proposal. So from thereafter I have solved numerical problems online. Okay, so then going to mutually exclusive proposals, and thereafter the evaluation techniques of capital projects, traditional techniques and time adjusted techniques, total 6 types. That is in traditional techniques, accounting rate of return, payback period, and discounted payback period, and in time adjusted net present value, internal rate of return, and profitability index. And thereafter, some additional problems. So here I conclude with unit 2, and in our next class, I'll make a beginning with unit 3, which is the cost of capital. Okay. So I will share you the reading material or notes on theory part, okay, as well as the PowerPoint presentation, as well as the numerical problem solutions. Okay, so please refer to your Google Classroom. Okay, so now we have about 3 minutes left. So I would like to have some feedback. Those students who want to give some feedback. Okay, this is for the online classes conducted. Feedback can be in terms of quality of video, quality of audio, okay, my ability to explain, or ease of understanding, anything. Okay, it should be about online classes. Okay, Sharon can officially give a feedback first, then remaining students will have a chance. Yes, Sharon. Sharon, can you hear me? Sharon, can you hear me?
So yes, sir.
Can you give a small feedback? Now hardly 1.5 minutes is left.
Like yes, like we can understand the problems easily. It's not that difficult. But the only thing is because of network issues, sometimes you can't hear your voice clearly, sir.
Okay.
Like it gets stuck in the it gets stuck in the between, and then it goes in a fast forward way, sir. Like we can't hear that clearly, but we
Okay, now
can't do
Sharon,
anything for that.
yes, Sharon, 1 minute for this audio problem. So the solution is in the
Yes,
form of
sir.
recorded video. So immediately
Yes, sir.
after
That's
each online class, I am uploading the recorded video into my YouTube channel, and there I have
yes, sir.
verified all the videos. The audio is very clear. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next, continue.
So then, like as I told, the problems are easier. We can understand them, and the way you explain, like for once only we can understand. There is no need of going and seeing those videos again and again.
Good.
Like for the first time, we can understand those easily.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Sharon. So the videos are for those students who are absent, not attending the online class. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And those students also who are unable to understand for the first time, they can refer the video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the time is up now. So we'll meet again day
Yes,
after
sir.
tomorrow. Okay. So thank
Yes,
you
sir.
one and all for your active
Thank you, sir.
participation. Okay. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye-bye.